real clockwork soldier.
Generation Orange in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yo, it's Couch Sessions with Generation Orange. Wow, you see how I can make my nose move? That's kind of cool. Anyways, yo, what's up, y'all? We Generation Orange. We literally live from our couch in front of BBVA Compass Stadium, apparently, which is beautiful.
It's a beautiful sunset here at Edo, so be sure to come on down.
Surprisingly, as much as everybody's whining and complaining about the freaking mosquitoes, I'm not having any problem with that right now. It's just great. But seriously, though, how is everybody doing? And also, hi, Darby. I saw you say hi earlier, and nobody seemed
Hi,
to reply to
Darby.
you. So, y'all, it has been a busy last couple of weeks, and it does not look to be getting any slower, which honestly is probably a good thing. Where's my YouTube chat? Are you going to put it in the middle?
I'm going to put it right here.
All right, cool. You're not going to show it on the thing anymore?
No, because I have to go and get
What does he mean, you bums? What does that mean, Cisco? Come on, bro. Look, we're tired. We're both worn out. It's been a long last couple of days, couple weeks, really. And look, we know that we've been putting in the work, and so we're ready for it. Is Wednesday, Osmar. You are totally 100% right. It's Couch Session Wednesday. See, when we go Wednesday, it's Couch Session. That's Couch Session. That's how it's going to work from now on. Anyways, so y'all know next week, of course, is the live show out at Pitch 25. We figured with the live show at Pitch 25 next week on Tuesday, having 6 days, kind of like the Dynamo, we needed a little bit of a rest in here, and so we just kind of made it happen. We've had a green screen, actually, Brian. I guess you didn't see, what was it, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
2 weeks ago when we debuted the green screen, but yeah, we got a green screen. And just so y'all know, that green screen behind us is actually contributable or attributable to you guys participating and being involved and being engaged. So thank you and continue staying engaged, and big things are coming for sure. It's going to be insane. Yeah, we're a week away from USOC final. I can't believe we are a week away. So much has happened. I mean, I just can't even, y'all. I just can't even. But seriously, though, Cabezas is back. Praise the Lord. You guys all saw the impact of having Cabezas back. I don't think anybody can question having Cabezas back and his impact over the weekend. I had a headache and wasn't able to make the game, and it was severe. It was bad. If it had been any less bad, I probably would have made that match, but there was just no way it was happening Saturday. What else is going on? So yeah, live show. We've already mentioned our first 3 guests. I do have like 3 or 4 more that I need to announce. I'm just trying to confirm a couple of them still. More the timing than actually that they'll be there. But one of them, which we will announce tonight, you guys should get pretty hype about. Everybody loves this individual. And it fires me up when this individual is around, whether it's in person or whether it's on the phone. So this will be awesome. But we'll announce that closer to the 8 o'clock hour. Also, thank you, Cisco. We have an interview at 8 o'clock. Actually, I'm not certain on that time. I need to confirm the time. We got an interview with AJ De La Garza a little bit later. Live interview, by the way. Not live in our apartment, obviously, but live on the phone, which is really freaking cool that AJ is willing to do that. But also means that we have prep work to do for that as well. The Dynamo played Saturday, which I already mentioned, and they won in convincing fashion, to say the least, which was good. Alex says the Albert Elise bobblehead is fire. I have not seen the bobblehead, but I knew without a doubt it was going to be straight fire.
It's fire.
It's lit.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I saw like they have on the actual promotions on the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that was the I guess that was like a prototype or something.
Yeah.
Because you know how on that shirt the orange is supposed to be like right here.
Mm-hmm.
It was like in the stomach. But the production ones that they've been showing, that Albert Elise has been showing on his Instagram, actually looks a lot better
like
designed.
Closer to the thing, yeah.
So I can assure you, whoever grabs one, is gonna go home a really, really happy Dynamo fan.
And also,
I won't be able to because I'll be at RGB.
yeah, well, also, let it be known, it is Wednesday, which means that Callow is not bowling tonight, which means he should be calling in. Phone lines are technically open.
Rocket League captain.
Rocket line. Rocket line is now open.
Yes, 956-622-5977. So be sure to call us.
And look, I'm gonna be honest. If y'all are pushing me around like 9 o'clock to keep going, you're sadly mistaken. It's gonna be 2 hours tonight at most. I'm gonna be lucky to make it an hour and a half. It's been a long last couple weeks. Cisco says that's nothing like the Carly Lloyd bobblehead. Dude, that Carly Lloyd bobblehead was crap, which isn't really a surprise. Yeah. Oh, so next week, yeah, right. Next week is the live show, hype party, USOC final party. Just so y'all know, I've mentioned the trivia. We are giving away prizes next week too, live in person. So you definitely want to come out. I don't know exactly what all our prizes are because I haven't seen most of them, but there will be prizes, and you will want to be there. And Darby, shout out for pushing to get some TA members out there. That's going to be amazing. Like I said before, Justin is trying to wrangle some Sons of Ben members out to get out there as well, which is going to be amazing as well. And then, yeah. Good Houston sports tweet to Tumbler trigger Sean. Good luck with that, Bob. You can't trigger me tonight because I don't have a long enough fuse to deal with it. I'll just be like, bad, kicked. You're out of the chat. That's kind of fun. All right.
However, I am the one that's controlling the
yeah,
mouse,
I don't have the mouse, but I mean, whatever. Y'all can be however you want to be in chat. It doesn't faze me really at all. I mean, you can get me fired up, but I'll end up falling asleep in an hour if you do. So I don't have enough energy to put into it. So okay, we've rambled on long enough. So, let's go to. No, I'm just kidding. Let's go to break.
All right, guys, that's it for the show.
That's right. I told y'all it was gonna be a short show. No, Dynamo played Saturday. Clearly looked, night and day difference compared to when. Ooh.
Wait, what?
Ooh, they're down already, son. Which doesn't surprise me.
No, I think they started at 7:30.
Oh, okay. Maybe he's just trying to give you crap.
Yeah, I should have worn my Ticketus jersey though, but I'm respecting it. It's a Dynamo show, so.
Yeah, whatever.
Well,
so what changed? Why are you suddenly respecting that this is a Dynamo show now, Mister? I'm going to wear a Mexico jersey while we're talking about U.S. men's national team.
Did I do it though?
Not that week, but you've done it before.
When?
I don't know. I'd have to think back and look.
Yeah, I've never done it.
All right, Cisco, it's on you. When did he last wear his Mexico jersey when we were talking U.S. men's national team? I know he did because there's no doubt in my mind he did. It may have been Peel days, but it's definitely.
It's going to be exciting.
Oops. Way to go, Edson. Hey, at least it wasn't something else. Yeah, so JDC, man, he come back. Oh, God, I can't even talk. He came back on Saturday. He played a few minutes. He didn't play the whole match. He only played, what, a half?
45,
yeah. He played a half, which honestly, for a player coming back from the injuries that he's dealt with, that's a pretty big deal. Mm-hmm. So he played a half, and the team, I mean, just clearly night and day difference. And look, that confidence that the other players have when he's even in the 18 is unmistakable. You can see the way that the offense plays when he's in the 18. It's just a totally different feel. It's a different push. It's a different mentality. And look, for as much as we want to give Wilmer crap, if that's the one player that he's needed this whole season, then that's the one player he's needed this whole season. And he's been on the roster, just he's been injured, and that unfortunately sucks. The good news is that he's back, and hopefully back for a while. Oops, sorry. I shouldn't have done that with the camera sitting on there. Toronto fans on Reddit saying only 12K tickets sold. Entire top section of the stadium is closed off. Pub, one of us. That's actually... Okay, so let's talk about that, because that came up this morning, and that was a good discussion, I think, to have tonight.
Stadium?
Not the stadium. No, it wasn't about the stadium. It was about attendance in general, and whether that's a Dynamo thing or an actual MLS thing.
Oh, yeah, I did
and
see that.
I mean, as I've been saying for I don't know how long now, that it's absolutely an MLS thing. Like, this is not just a Dynamo struggle. And somebody who's a KC fan actually tweeted to jump into the conversation, which I thought in and of itself was kind of funny, but whatever. They jumped in and said, KC's struggling with the same thing. And this is a team that, for a good chunk of the season, has been a decent team, if not one of the better teams in the league. I mean, not FC Dallas' best team in the league, but they're pushing for one of the best teams in the league. And yet they're struggling to keep season ticket holders. And there are even season ticket holders within the KC base that are like, I'm not renewing next season. So, for all the flack that the front office gets with our fan base, I think there's just it's an MLS issue right now. And I mentioned on Twitter that one of the things to keep in mind is, the MLS approach for the last few years, and really going back probably to, when the Dynamo started, because it's really all I have to reference, but when the Dynamo started in 2006, yeah, 2006. That when they started, MLS was in this kind of era of, where they were trying to build up their
The relevancy.
the relevance. Yeah, there you go. The relevancy. They were trying to make themselves relevant in the American sports world, if you will. And you look at what it took to get there, and a lot of what it took to get there was business sense. And what do I mean by get there? I mean that they're relevant now, and they're relevant enough that they were able to land a very lucrative broadcast rights deal with ESPN, Fox Sports, and Univision. And so I think a lot of fans need to take a step back and understand that maybe what they're seeing right now is the result of that, which is that by having a focus on the business aspect over necessarily moreover than the fan experience, in general, and the game day atmosphere and those kinds of things, by having that focus, it has created a sustainable league. And, I said this on Twitter, and it's a harsh truth and a harsh reality to share, but it's the reality of the situation that there's not a front office in this league that is going to make more money by ticket holders than they make from that broadcast rights deal. There's just not. I mean, that broadcast rights deal across the board was
millions.
Millions. Oh, it was like $10 million per team per season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's more than their entire salaries combined. Not combined, but more than most teams' entire salaries, with the exception of like TFC and a couple others.
So Bob brings up a good point. He says they had to fight off bankruptcy and were 24 hours away from folding. That I did not know. They are definitely business oriented. That mentality has lasted a lot longer than your Seattle, Portland, Atlantis.
Absolutely, and it's had to. It's been a necessity, not a, not just a. It's not been a luxury for them to be able to think that way or operate that way, but it's been a necessity. Cisco says people forget that the league is still younger than most of us. Most of us as fans are, in age by quite a bit, and he's not wrong. I mean, this league's probably the league is probably half my age, which is incredible to think. And it's not a perfect league, and no sports league is. I mean, you look at the NFL and how long they've been around. You look at the NBA and how long they've been around. You look at MLB and how long they've been around. They all make missteps. They all have mistakes that you can look at in just the last couple of seasons, let alone, prior to that. Mm-hmm. But what I'm trying to get at, and I think it's important for us to remember just on the whole, and I wish more fans would understand this or accept it as reality, is, while you think that, and it's part of the circle of suck stuff and all that, but, while you think that by being a fan that makes you something more, that's not what this is about. It's about the bottom line, and it's about sustainability, and it's about the longevity of the product. And broadcast rights are what's going to keep this league afloat for the next 10 to 20 years. Now, once we get to the next broadcast rights deal, and once MLS has proven that they're – you okay over there?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. I like how you're behind the YouTube chat, even though everybody else can't see it on screen. On the screen he's got here, he's behind the YouTube chat. So the only reason I knew he was yawning is because I heard him yawning. Not because I saw him yawning, but because I heard him yawning. Don't yawn on camera. If you have to, just like look away.
I did. I went like this.
No. Again, I couldn't see you, so I didn't. Anyways. Okay. And so, Bob makes the point that, yes, MLS technically folded for a few days and got an emergency funding that came from Lamar Hunt, which is why they have the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup trophy in competition. It's at the end of the day, it's just important to remember, as season ticket holders and ticket holders in general, that, as much as we want to think that we hold all the cards in the deck because we're fans and that makes us, a commodity and not a commodity and not a security. We're a security, not a commodity. We're tradable. I mean, we really are. It's hard to hear, but, the amount of money that you spend per match for the Dynamo is one of the lowest amounts across the league, no matter where you sit and no matter what you buy. You got to remember, for what you're getting, regardless of what the on-field product may be, for what you're getting, the amount of tickets for season tickets is dirt cheap. Fans want to complain that, I don't get enough with my season ticket package. Well, that's because you're paying bottom-level prices. Not only that, they're giving you a lot of perks. Just because you don't use those perks doesn't fall in the front office. That falls on you for not using them. There are people that want to moan and groan because they don't have access to cheaper food or cheaper concessions. The front office, especially your season ticket rep, they're willing to give you vouchers every once in a while for free food. I mean, I think there's just this section of the fan base that feels like I deserve more, but it's also the same section of the fan base that feels like they're some sort of irreplaceable, thing. And look, you're right. Technically, you're irreplaceable because you're a passionate fan, and it's hard to replace passionate fans with, dispassionate fans. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you look at leagues across the world, and while, yes, the best leagues do have large supporter bases, there are plenty of teams that are surviving with bandwagon fans. It's not – there are a lot of teams that don't have super, super large supporters groups. You compare percentage-wise, their supporters groups are actually smaller percentage-wise, compared to some of our supporters groups. And by percentage-wise, MLS teams are profitable right now. They're bringing in largest profits and, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But that doesn't take into account all the other operational expenses. It's easy to say, they're being super profitable, but we have to remember that some of that profit probably goes to stadium operations and stadium costs and paying back that loan. Probably goes towards, various funds and sustaining the Dash and sustaining the academy system. And, the list goes on and on. There's a lot of operational expenses that just get ignored when we talk about profitability. And it's just, I look at all of it and I think I get frustrated by it because I realize that a lot of those complaints and a lot of those things come from, and I don't mean this offensively, I mean this honestly, come from those who don't take the time to do the research. It's amazing how when I talk to people and they are willing to listen, how they usually end up having a bit of a mindset change. Now, that doesn't mean I'm content with where the front office is in terms of Chris Kennedy, in terms of that side of things. I'm not content with it. But I do understand there's a purpose in it. Are you going to make it, Edson? Yeah. I'm supposed to be the one dying over here, and you're like, oh, man, I'm falling out right now. Come on, bro. Get with it, bro. Get with it. But, I also understand that there are fans that are frustrated, and they feel like their only out right now is to blame the front office and to not renew season tickets. And to those fans, I say, hey, look, don't renew your season tickets. That's fine. Because the front office are going to find fans that are going to be willing to renew their season tickets. Not only that, they're going to find fans that are not going to bail on them, when the going gets tough. And again,
will they though?
They will. They will. No, they absolutely will.
If that was the case, then we'd be able to have more people going to the games.
But you got to remember, the struggle is not for the struggle is really single game tickets, because they undersold. I mean, season ticket wise, because I asked Julio about this. Season ticket wise, they sold less than 1,000 less than they sold last season. So that's not a large number. When you're talking about 7,000 to 8,000 season tickets, it might even be higher. It might be 14,000 season tickets. But I mean, when you look at that, 1,000 under, over the course of a season is minimal. I mean, that really is minimal. You can chalk some of that up to, people moving away, to disgruntled fans, whatever. I mean, it is substantial, but it's not substantial. It just depends on how you look at it. And Julio is a nice guy, Blues fan. You're absolutely right. Look, exactly. Cisco mentions with the renewals this year for auto renewals, you get a free jersey, period. End of story. Point blank. You get a free jersey. It's probably a replica jersey, but it's still a free jersey. That's still $80 that they're giving you for free. Not only that, for those that auto renew or set up auto renewal and you're a current season ticket holder, they will refund your cost of your Open Cup tickets. So for me, that's like $60 that I'm getting refunded towards next season's tickets. And so that's that. I mean, it's a no-brainer for me for next season because my cost is not going up at all. They even, they're even offering a price lock for current season ticket holders to set up auto renewal. So I get a price lock. I get cheaper tickets because I'm not having to pay for my Open Cup tickets instead. And then I'm getting the free jersey and other free perks that they're throwing in as well. I mean, when you look at the whole of it, anybody who says that the value isn't there is either not willing to accept what they're offering, which, hey, guess what? The front office is offering things.
Or greedy.
Or they want something more that they're not currently getting.
Look, at least you guys aren't season ticket members for RGVFC. Now there we can say that we literally get a value for season tickets.
But how much are your tickets for a season ticket holder?
We made the math, and for they are pretty much, you really don't get much of a.
Well, no, I get that, but what is your actual price of your ticket is what I'm asking. Like, give me the supporter section season ticket holder. How much does
the cheapest tickets are $5.
There, okay, and that's so. If I was to call up a season ticket rep at, well, they probably don't have those out there at RGV, but if I was to call up the front office at RGV and say I want to be a season ticket holder, give me your cheapest seats. They're going to give me $5 per match for season tickets. Or do you just not know? And you can say I don't know. That's fine.
Right now, price of I'm not really sure, but as far as perks, that I do know for sure, like extra perks like that, there aren't any at this moment.
We may be buffering, but there's zero reason we are buffering. We are also paying for 200 megs down, so we should not be buffering at all.
Then I don't think. Yeah, I don't think it's my processor either because it's at 74%.
Well, I mean, it's not buffering on here. If it was your processor, we'd be buffering right here.
Sure.
I think it's internet related.
Might be YouTube servers.
So that's another thing too. Yeah, just keep in mind, guys. YouTube servers do limit us. I mean, we just can't get around that, unfortunately. Maybe one day when we become big time, maybe if we become big time, they'll like, hey, they're worth actually helping and making sure their connectivity is actually good instead of total crap. Thanks, Comcast. Thanks, YouTube. Thanks a bunch. Anyways, the reason I asked that question, Edson, and the reason why that's important to know is because if you look at it, I want to know how much you're actually paying, how much you would be paying, because I know you're not, but how much you would be paying for an RGV season ticket at the lowest price and then even at the highest price. Because I think I want you to be very careful in saying that it's not a good deal at the RGV side, and that there's a right to have beef and a complaint, because the fact of the matter is, it may be that the cost of those tickets.
I'm not basically what I'm saying, compared to.
You don't get all the extra perks. Is that what you're really
That's
trying to
what
say?
I'm trying to reference.
Well, of course, but it's a minor league team. I wouldn't expect
what
them
I'm
to give you the
what I'm
perks.
saying is, for example, at least Dynamo season ticket holders get perks, and yet people are still complaining.
Yeah.
Where it could be for RGV, you don't get a lot of perks, or if any at all. I think the only one that I know for sure is you get like 15% off at the team store. That's the only perk that I know.
Well, I mean, that's the same perk as what the Dynamo offered as far as the team store goes. That may change. That may have been leftovers from the Bert Garcia year as well. So I guess we'll see if that changes going into next season. As the off season progresses, I think you may see that. But
this season, that's pretty much how.
Yeah, and again, I understand the frustration there, but I also kind of take a step back and I go, how much are they really making on those tickets? At price wise, and if what we've talked about with in regards to the Nippon Chopra thing related to not making any money.
Yeah.
If that is accurate, then where the hell are they supposed to pay out this extra crap from? But again, these are the things that they make a difference in these conversations. And if there are people out there that are not willing to listen to these things, and they're just like, man, this sucks because I don't get this, this, and this, but they're not willing to think through or listen to what they get, then yeah, I mean, it's a lost cause. They've already made up their mind. They're just looking for an excuse to get out of having season tickets. And from a fan standpoint, I can understand that to some extent, and just in terms of the frustrations. But at the same time, if you're going to do that, then really, honestly, and look, I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm just being honest. But at that point, what kind of fan were you really anyways? Were you just a bandwagon fan that was happy because the Dynamo had their run of form when they did, and you got in because you were like, oh man, I want to see them get back there? Or were you the type of fan that was like, oh, I'm going to sign up because I think they're going to get better at some point, and they just haven't gotten better in the timeline you wanted to give them? I'm not saying that makes you less of a fan. I'm just saying, what kind of fan does that make you? Because it's an important question. Because if you're going to be the type of fan that, because of poor performances consistently for 2-3 seasons, you're not going to stick around, then newsflash, you're not going to be the type of fan that the Dynamo are going to want long-term anyways. Because you're not going to stick around with the team through the thick and the thin. You're a Patriots fan. I'm sorry, did that hurt there, Edson? By the way, they sucked this season, and I told you that after that Texans game, didn't I?
Yeah.
They were destroyed. Jacksonville was the greatest thing ever. And I couldn't even watch it.
And now they got Josh Gordon.
That doesn't mean anything.
I know, I'm just saying, like...
I mean, don't get me wrong, he's going to be better than he was in Cleveland, but that's like... that's a guarantee.
But it's still... let's get back to soccer.
It's a very Patriots thing to do. Let's just leave it at that. So Cisco asked, do RGV season ticket holders get early entry? Like, do they get early access to the city?
No, they do not. They everybody goes in at the same time.
Callow wants to know, are we taking calls?
Yes, we are.
956-622-5977. So Bob says, very fair statement. I got a job in Houston just to have an MLS team, and it was his first time seeing playoffs. But he's always loved the team despite their form. But there's so many fans going, sigh, but Robertson, or complaining about the price, or complaining about the perks.
I think it's time that people would just shut up about Robertson. Robertson was in the past. Our home right now is BBVA Compass Stadium. Like we said, we're down in the valley. If you guys want to make the atmosphere at BBVA Compass Stadium better, it starts with you. It doesn't start with front office. It starts with you as the individual fan who starts cheering and starting for the team. And it pisses me off, and I'm sorry I use the word, but it pisses me off when I hear people saying, like, oh, well, I don't want to cheer because people shut me up. Well, you know what? Forget them. You do you. You make up the atmosphere, because when people take the initiative of cheering for the team at the stadium, the atmosphere, and nobody can deny this, is excellent. But when people start not doing it, just sitting in their seats, then it just dies. So, and if that's what you're going to be complaining in, that's a stupid complaint. I'm sorry, but that's a stupid complaint because that's all up to you.
No, that was perfect. I need a fan to cool Edson off over here. It was lit. I'm glad you did the rant this week because I don't have it in me to do one. I'm not that tired. I mean, I'm not that energetic this week. Bob says it's a fair statement, and I think it is a fair statement. And Bob says that's why he wears a cape and dances around and pretends to know Spanish. That's awesome, Bob. You were the man. Thanks, Darby. I mean, I didn't know how to deal with that. I mean, it just came out of nowhere. It was like, it was like the flames just. It was great. By the way, you are allowed to do that anytime you want, just so you know. I said are allowed, just so I clarify. You are allowed to do that anytime you want. You're allowed to rant. This show's all about ranting. Like, I don't know why. It just becomes that. Okay, so again, phone lines are open, 956-622-5977. If you do try to call in, please let us know in chat right before you do. Oh, that's probably Callow.
Welcome to Generation Orange. Who are we speaking
Welcome to Generation Orange.
This is Callow?
Yeah, I kind of figured. What's up, our Canadian brethren?
Not much. I just
Capitan.
wanted to add in on to like the perks and stuff.
Yep, go for it.
I feel like they've never gone about saying that you're getting these perks. They've gone about saying that you're a member of something.
Yeah.
You're going to get these experiences with it.
Yep.
And throughout the year, they give more experiences than they give perks per se.
Absolutely.
Like,
you know,
meet the team.
But there's
soccer
some
night out.
But there's some fans that'll turn around and they'll argue with you that, well, but yeah, that's because it doesn't cost them anything to do that. And I don't think
it does.
I was gonna say I don't think that's true in any way, shape, or form. These things cost them a lot of money, but they're doing
what they're trying to do is build a community instead of building like rabid fans. You get this jersey, and that's going to be like, oh, I'm excited for this month.
Yeah, well, and you know, and that's interesting too because you know, you made the point about the experiences, and there's a lot of fans out there, especially the ones that complain. They're the ones that don't use they don't go to the experiences. They don't use what the Dynamo are offering in terms of that. You know, maybe they do use the vouchers they give and they do, you know, the vault every once in a while or something like that. But they're not going out to these meet the team events. They're not going out to, you know, to these other things that are going on and the various experiences during the match day and what have you. And I think if you take a step back, the valid point there, which is really important, and I hope other fans listen to this, is the reason that the team is using those, you know, pushing those experiences is because it's a way to connect not only with the team, but to connect with the players. And we've said all along, and one of the things that Jay said in his Circle of Suck talk is that, or actually, no, it was Brett Zalaski talking about how you connect or how you increase sales or how you grow sales in general. You have to, especially as a soccer or a sports club selling tickets, you have to engage and connect with your community. And, you know, there's a lot of fans that say, I feel disconnected. But then when the club offers these opportunities, what are they doing? They're sitting at home. They're, you know, going out with friends instead of going to these events, but they feel disconnected. It's like, what more do you want the club to actually do to connect with you?
The club's absolutely offering you every chance to connect with players, with the team.
Look, it's like dating, right? Yeah. It's like dating. The guy is showing up to the date, and you, as the girl, Callow, you're not a girl. I'm using this as an example. You, as the girl, are ditching the guy for somebody else, right? Like you're like, oh, I'm gonna go hang out with this other person, and then you're wondering why the guy's not interested in you anymore. Like, I mean, is that not an apt analogy right there?
I've had that happen to me many times. So.
I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. Grow up.
It's just you, Ethan.
Damn. All right, what else you got for us, Callow? It was a good take, actually, man. Good job.
I don't know. I just wanted to chime in on that. I don't really have any hot takes. It was a heck of a week for us, really.
It was, wasn't it? It was a good week. It was a very good week. And just so everybody knows, Callow, it is really nice to have you on via phone. I know it's very difficult when we air on Tuesdays, but I appreciate that you can come on a Wednesday and you know, talk soccer a little bit. I appreciate that. That's, you know.
Oh.
Hashtag respect.
Also,
hashtag respect.
Another take. I'm sick of hearing we haven't spent on players.
But Callow, we haven't spent any money on players. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm sick of hearing that, you know, Lundqvist was a bad pickup and that he can't break the lineup and that Fuenmayor wasn't worth the money because anybody who watches the games knows he is. Those are the takes I'm sick of hearing about on Twitter. So
we'll see. Your first problem is that you listen to the takes on Twitter. Your second problem is
I argue with them.
I was going to say you engage in arguing with those takes on Twitter, and then you wonder why you get frustrated. It's like, well, you kind of brought it on yourself, bro. Blues fan says Lundqvist was a bad pickup. Bring Remick back. He's doing it to try to rile you up.
Oh, does Remick even know who he is anymore?
That's still debatable, actually. I'm not sure. No, he's a great guy, and I feel bad for him because concussions are no joke, man. But look, I mean, you bring up a good point. There are a lot of fans out there that like to spout off that the Dynamo haven't spent any money. They see that 5 million figure from whatever site does the numbers, and they go,
I swear if I have to see that damn infographic
Cisco.
again, I'm going to
It's
get
all
annoyed.
Cisco's fault. It's all freaking Cisco's fault. There's a graphic. Like I said, it's about 5 million that the Dynamo are spending, and they're last in spending in the league, according to player salaries. But again, where this is important, and I wish more fans would actually educate themselves, is where the Dynamo are spending their money is not in salaries. They're spending it on transfer fees. The other thing that they're doing, which is hugely important, is they have a GM that is balls to the wall incredible at what he does. He minimizes salaries to keep their salary budget low while still bringing in very quality players. So what you see is their salary is maybe $100,000, which is like a low-level MLS player, but in reality, talent level is they're like, they're a starting MLS player in the league on most teams. So I mean, look at Kyoto, right? Everybody saw somebody on Reddit, and this infuriated me, but I didn't reply because I'm not that dumb.
He's the worst player in the world.
No. It was worse than that. They were trying to claim that we paid a transfer fee of $1 million for Kyoto.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That was brilliant, wasn't it? Because apparently I didn't know this, but apparently we spent $1 million to bring in Kyoto. Let me back this train up just a second. We got him on a free transfer, and it was made very public repeatedly. We got him on a free transfer. So we didn't spend $1 million on transfer fee for him. I don't know where that number came from or who pulled that out of their ass, because that's the only place that could have came out of. Number two, he's only like a $200,000 player, $230,000 player right now. He's not a $300,000 player. Do you realize how many players in the league?
If I make up a number, it's not real?
Exactly. Fake news. I mean, you okay over there, Ed?
Yeah.
I mean, look, he's making less than like 60% of the league makes. I mean, just in terms of like the elite players in the league. And for fans to sit here and complain that, man, the Dynamo don't spend money. No, they don't spend money in the way you expect them to. They're not stupid. They don't overspend for players that they don't need to overspend for.
They don't overpay, like literally.
Exactly. They don't overpay. I mean, if you think the Patriots – okay, I'm going back to football for a minute. If you think the Patriots have been as good as long as they have – or did you just say you're out, Kylo? You can leave. That's fine.
No, I said okay.
Okay. So, like the Patriots, right? I look at – and the reason I use them is because they're the best dynasty example I can pull from any sport. They don't overspend on players. In fact, they're willing to pick up scraps from other teams and turn them into superstars.
I think
Wes
the
Welker
most American example that people pull from like money equals championships is George Steinbrenner era in the Yankees.
Yeah, but I mean, he overspent for all those players, and look at what it did to them towards the end of, after the few years that they had with him doing that. It took him years to recover from that. It wasn't an immediate turnaround. You can keep buying players, but it doesn't create a sustainable culture. It doesn't. The reason the Patriots have been so successful for so long is because they don't overspend. They have a culture where they're willing to spend money on the right players, but they're not going to overspend. They're going to go ahead and let other teams release players for nothing. They're going to pick players up off of trades for sixth and seventh rounders that don't mean anything in the draft. And they're going to get players that are elite level players to come and play for them.
It's nothing short of impressive how Matt Jordan seems to find these players that pop up and give you all they've got for so little.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
and he doesn't get the credit for it.
Yeah.
And people still want him gone. That's the worst part.
Because people don't know. They're not educated. They're not doing the legwork themselves to understand why there are people that love this guy. And look, if we didn't have Matt Jordan, we would be in
big trouble,
crap town, because we wouldn't have the money to spend on players like everybody else.
And I think the worst part is because it's one thing to be ignorant. There's another thing to be willfully ignorant.
Blissfully ignorant. Oh boy, they are willfully and blissfully ignorant. You are not.
Oh,
wrong.
yeah, they just wallow in their ignorance. They don't care.
Yeah, and they're not even open to discussion or anything like that. They're just like, oh, this is what I believe. Everybody else is wrong, and you know what? If you think, if you say that something is different to me, oh, then you're just sucking up to the team or
Exactly.
anything like
Yeah. I mean, and
Or you're being
I've heard
paid.
that. I've heard that repeatedly. Like, the reason we support the team the way that we do, and the reason why I defend the front office the way I do, is because I must be being paid by them, or I must be like, I must be trying to just suck up to them and keep on their good side.
Yeah,
Tell-
like in
tell
the
us-
Reddit, I was
No,
flat
that's
out
not
called
true.
in
that.
front
Tell
office
us
shill.
where.
You guys know that's not true, but yeah, go ahead, Cal. You were saying something, and then
I said in the Reddit, I was flat out called a office shill, front office shill.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Like, and it's like it takes a long time for them to go look at Twitter and see, oh wait, this guy does not, is not going to shill out for our front office. I mean, come on. How many times have I gone on record and say I don't like Karis Kennedy as our president? I think there are things that he could do that would be better. With that being said, though,
Hashtag Kennedy's a lizard person.
I mean, but with that being said, though, I mean, at this point, what's the better option? What are you going to get in a president from somebody, somewhere else that's going to give you a different situation, or going to put you in a different situation? The fact is, it's not Kennedy either. And as much as I, am on board with seeing him gone, just because I think he's been around too long and the lack of accountability, I still don't think that's necessarily going to change the issue going on with the Dynamo. I think it's something that's ingrained so deep into the culture that it's going to take a cultural shift within the front office. That's going to take years. It's not going to be just we fire the guy and then overnight we get a new guy and we're good. That's not how that works.
I had vastly suspected this was going to be a rough year when we got as far as we did last year. That raises everyone's expectations.
It does,
and I hate to say it now, but that's what the problem is.
I think you're right, and I think unfortunately the expectation was set years ago when the Dynamo won the championships in their first 2 seasons. It sets an unrealistic mark that this team has to be that successful year in, year out.
Where have I heard that before? RGV.
RGV. I was trying to figure out what you were talking about.
Yeah.
RGV is another good example of that, right? Successful in their first season and then struggle in the next 2 seasons. They've been around for 3 seasons, and fans are abandoning them like they're going sinking, like a sinking ship. It makes no sense to me. But I look at the Dynamo in the same way. It's like, look, it doesn't matter who you are in MLS. You have a down season every once in a while. The Galaxy are having a down season. I saw somebody today.
Toronto.
Oh, this pissed me off. I saw somebody today.
They're having a down season or a down couple seasons?
Couple of seasons. I saw somebody on Twitter today talking about how the LA Galaxy are part of a part of a group of clubs, LA Galaxy, SKC. There's 1 or 2 others that are struggling with season ticket holders and their supporter base. And I look at that and I laugh because I'm like, they're not struggling in the way you think they are. If LA Galaxy are struggling, it has nothing to do with the LA Galaxy front office and everything to do with LAFC or the new shiny toy on the block.
Mm-hmm.
And SKC, they're not struggling with their supporter base, not at all. But I continue.
I don't.
Yeah, no, Kenneth, I know.
You get like those. You get those swing fans in those kind of cities where they have
Yep.
2 teams where they just swing on to the next big thing.
Yep. New York Red
And
Bulls
whoever's
and New York.
doing well.
New York Red Bulls and New York City FC. Perfect example. But at the end of the day, it comes down to simply there are people that are just simply going to be upset for the sake of being upset. They're never content and they're never happy. And unfortunately, what I'm trying to get away from is letting that negativity affect those fans who might be borderline fans, who might be close to actually renewing, but because of that negativity, negativity breeds negativity. There need to be fans out there that are, willing to, and Callow, I applaud you for being one of those fans, but there are fans that need to be out there and hop on Twitter or hop on social media. Instagram.
You have to educate. You have to
Yes.
help people along.
Yes.
If somebody's on the fence, you have to take the time out and tell them, look, you're looking at it all the wrong way.
Yeah. And look, I'm not saying that you have to go out and you have to engage everybody that's talking. But what I'm saying is, look, for all, for the 50 people on Twitter or on social media that are, whining and complaining on a daily basis, there's 50 to 100 more that are sitting there and they're looking at that because that's all that's being talked about. If you want to be a fan that inspires change, you have to be willing to educate and willing to go out there and talk, even if it means having to engage those crazy fans that think they know what they're talking about, and understand that just because you're not impacting their decision doesn't mean that you're not impacting someone else's decision. It doesn't mean that you're not having an impact. The reason I'm willing to engage those people on Twitter has nothing to do with this thing that's going on right here. It has everything to do with the fact that one of my missions and goals as a fan has been to educate myself first, and then to try to educate those fans that don't seem to quite understand. And I'm not saying that that makes me a smarter fan. I'm not saying that means I know more than you. It has nothing to do with any of that. All I'm saying is I educated myself out of necessity. I needed to understand because, let's be honest, MLS and soccer in general in the U.S. is a non-transparent sport. What that means is it's very hard to get the core information that you need to really understand what's going on with the club. And so with all of that in mind, I wanted to educate fans about that because there are a lot of fans that just don't have the time or the capacity to do the research that I've done, or don't have sources that have educated them like I've had educate me. And so, you know, I think there's something to be said for those fans that after they've been educated or once they've been educated, take the time to engage other fans to try to continue that process. So, Callow, seriously, sincerely from me, thank you for continuing that process, for being willing to engage, even if you get pissed off in the process. You know, thank you.
I think it comes from like 50% me wanting to help people and 50% me wanting to troll people, though.
I mean, you know, you got to have, but that's the thing, right? Somebody who does it has to have a little bit of trolling in them. It's just part of the job. But, you know, Kyle, we're going to go ahead and let you go because we're going to try to, here in just a little bit, get AJ in and maybe take a break. Maybe. We'll see.
Do it up.
So, all right, Callow, thanks for joining us, man. Glad you were able to join us.
Me.
For sure, absolutely. Anytime, you know, that it's not a Tuesday, which pretty much never. Yeah. Later, bro.
Later.
Bing. See, I told you. Toto Dynamo says, that's why I think it's important to work on the fan base and not consider them recyclable. You need people to engage, to want to go to the stadium to support despite the results. Well, Toto Dynamo, you might have missed my earlier statement that I don't, not recyclable. That may have been a bad, like I said, replaceable. Recyclable is a different word. But you're right. We need people to engage. The problem is that the fans that are bitching and moaning, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, the fans that are bitching and moaning are the ones that don't engage with the experiences that are being offered anyways. If the Dynamo are offering these experiences, what do you expect them to do different? Offer more experiences? They're already shelling out money hand over fist to get, you know, engage with their players and with their coach and with their GM. Well, not their GM, but their coach and their, you know, their players. And, you know, you, not specifically you, Toto Dynamo, but other fans that complain about that are, you know, they don't go to those things. They don't think that, they don't put enough value in them. And so, you know, that's all I wanted to say in regards to that. Osmar says, can we agree Dynamo is doing the best with what they have, but there's definitely room to spend on the squad? I see, again, though, the problem is they're spending money. I've said it before. They've spent this offseason and season combined, they've spent roughly $9 million on transfer fees. It's not on salary. Now, you can say they have more room to spend on salary, and maybe they do, but that's also the third DP, and who's to say we don't get one this offseason? Again, this was a team that made the Western Conference Finals last year. They didn't have a lot of overturn on players. They had zero, really, if you think about it, other than like one or two. And so they had the same roster. So if Juan David Cabezas doesn't get injured in preseason or, you know, the beginning of the season, this season goes very different. Period. End of story. So Bob says, why when I see a new family in the supporters section, I give away my scarf to the kid with them? Always be positive and encourage returns. Helps that I have 50-plus scarves, though. Bob, I think that's fair, though, right? Like, if you're a fan that has resources available to you in some way, shape, or form, you know, share those resources. I mean, anytime I see an opportunity to share resources, I do it, especially when it comes to the Dynamo, because, you know, it's a way to show your passion, and it's a way to help engage and embrace, you know, others into that culture and into that, into that. Cisco says, I made the argument that the Dynamo instant success in 06 and of the fan base in the sense that the front office didn't really have to work to bring fans in. They just relied on the team's success. Not only that, but they were, they had they were being embraced by the college U of H culture over there because they were in their stadium. Once they moved to BBVA, that really hurt them because they lost that college base. And if you look at TA, and no offense to TA, I'm not intending this to be offending to TA, but if you look at TA, they began to suffer around that same time because fewer college kids were showing up, and it impacts their atmosphere in general. So I mean, thanks, Cal. It's just one of those things that I wish more fans would take the time to educate themselves, or at least be open to letting those that have educated themselves talk. Like, it's okay to complain on Twitter. I'm not saying don't complain on Twitter. You can complain on Twitter, but don't disregard those people that are trying to engage you about it. And if there are other people that are trying to chime in and trying to just be Debbie Downers about it, tell them to back off for a little bit so you can listen to what's being said. That's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking for you to change your mind about it. That's not going to happen. I'm not, whatever, that's fine. But at least be willing to engage in the discussion and not just immediately shut down the conversation because it doesn't go your way or you don't agree with what's being said. You can disagree, you can disagree and still agree on things. Like, we don't see, Edson and I don't see politically the same way. We don't. We lean differently in a lot of ways, really, if you think about it. But we're still friends because we converse and we discuss, and it's just how we are. And that's how I wish more fans would be, is, look, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you support in terms of which supporters group. It doesn't matter if you're El Batallon or you're Texan Army. It doesn't matter if you sit in 102 or 202. It doesn't matter if you sit in 102 or 130. It doesn't matter where you sit, who you are, why you're there. But as long as you're there to truly support the club. And, again, I think I wish there was a way that someone, and it's not me, I'm not good at doing this, but I wish someone would be able to define what the hell a supporter means. I feel like that's the one thing that, everybody's like, oh, I'm a supporter. Well, what the hell does that even really mean at the end of the day? I know we had a show a few weeks back, probably a month and a half, 2 months ago now, maybe even more than that, where we discussed that. But I don't think anybody's actually come out and come up with like a true definition of what a quote-unquote supporter is. And that's the other thing too, guys, and I appreciate you guys doing this, that, you guys are talking about, different things that got you into various things. What I mean by that is, talk about what drew you into the game with people. Tell them what drew you into the Dynamo. Tell them what hooked you on the Dynamo. Tell them about the moments. Like, when I tell, I got friends, and when I tell them about that Senderos goal, that when we tied LAFC, man, I mean, I get lit even thinking about that, like just reliving that moment because it was that incredible, And so, if you're not sharing those things, then you're not helping the cause. It doesn't mean you're not necessarily hurting the cause, but you're not helping the cause. And then if you're one of those ones whining and complaining, are you one of those ones who's involved in those things? What I mean by that is, if you're whining and complaining, were you at the LAFC match? Because that match alone made up for about 75% of the struggles we had this season. Because it was that incredible of a moment. There are teams that struggle for years and don't have that kind of moment. So, I mean, at the end of the day, all I'm asking is, if you're going to complain, and it's true in YouTube chat, it's true on Twitter, it's true on Instagram, it's true on Facebook, it's true in stadium, out of stadium, whatever. If you're going to complain, all I ask is that you be willing to be engaged about it. You don't just shut down. If you're going to shut down, honestly, and I do mean this offensively because there are going to be ones that take offense to it. If you're one of those that just shuts down the arguments or shuts down the discussion because you don't want to hear it, you've heard all the lines before, guess what? You've already sold out. You're already done. You're already out the door. So don't hang around any longer. Just make the decision and go. Because you're the type of fan that honestly is not going to have your mind changed. You've already made up your decision. You've been making your decision for the last 3 or 4 seasons anyways. So nothing the club does is going to change it. Let's be honest. Let's be real. They could bring in a $6 million player, and you still would be like, it's not the player I wanted. It's not a name player. It could still be a $6 million player, but you wouldn't be accepting of that.
They could even bring Messi, and they would be wanting Cristiano Ronaldo.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. There are people that would be like that. But my point is, if you're already halfway out the door, get your ass out the door anyways. Don't linger. Lingering is what makes things worse. If you're at the edge of the door, if you're thinking about it, at least be willing to engage and discuss. Because then maybe you find out something you didn't know that can change your perspective. And in sports and in life in general, perspective and perception make everything happen. Perspective and perception are what make the world go round. They really do, whether people realize it or not. Yes, exactly, Callo. Spot on, every one of you. Okay, Cisco, can you do me a favor? Can you message me and remind me what time it was we had AJ on last time? Because I don't remember, and I don't have any log of that because I forgot to do that. Do you have it?
He said 8. Oh, do I have his number? Yes.
Oh, okay. No, that's not what I meant. All right, we're going to go to break, and we're going to talk to Cisco via text message. All right, okay, perfect. Thanks, Cisco. We're going to go to break for like 1 minute, and then we're going to call AJ, and we're going to get him on. Talk to you in a minute, guys. Slacker. Didn't have it up.
Say you won't leave me. I know it's too easy to run away. To run away. I know you wanted this. I never wanted this to end. But now we're going down. Whoa. Picking up the pieces that we left here, we just left here. No way of knowing where to go now, go now, go now. Where to go now, go now, go now. No way of knowing where to go. Don't know if it's worth it. Oh, it's always the wrong day to show, and I don't know where to go now, go now, go now. Where to go now, go now, go now. No way of knowing where to go.
And we're back, and we have a very super special guest. Super special. You're super special, AJ, just so you know. We have a special guest, AJ De La Garza, on the line with us on the phone over there. You guys can't see it on the video. I don't know why I just pointed at it. That was silly. But anyways, AJ, first of all, thank you for joining us. You joined us via, well, you joined, what was that? Was that us or down? No, that was us, right?
Yeah. That
joined us. I couldn't remember. It's been a long last month and a half. Joined us. To discuss how your rehab was going and your time with RGV. And you've had a few more matches with RGV now. And so we wanted the opportunity to just talk to you a little bit and find out, we did ask you about, at that time, we asked you about, what you had seen in regards to RGV. Because it was an opportunity for us to hear from someone who was coming from the MLS professional side to get a chance to kind of give us your take on the RGV in general, in terms of just their play, in terms of their quality, in terms of their talent level. Now that you've had a few more matches with them, I have one question, and I know Edson has a couple, but I have one, and that is, are there any players to you that specifically stand out that you go, those players could easily become MLS players. Maybe they have a couple of things to work on, but they have either the mindset, the mentality, or the physical skill set to take it to the next level. Are there any players at RGV? You don't have to call them out if you don't want to, but it'd be great if you would.
I'll say I definitely see some talent in there that guys that can come in and be a part of an MLS team. Obviously, some guys have some things to work on, whatever it may be, but I won't call people out. But
oh, for sure.
I think there's some good talent in there for sure.
Good.
AJ, how difficult was it for you playing up in Colorado Springs? And I know as far as temperature-wise, it was pretty decent. But as far as the altitude, how difficult was it for you, especially with the fact that you barely still, trying to recover from that injury?
Yeah, the temperature-wise was amazing. The altitude obviously was a big factor for me, having not played in 3 weeks and trying to beat my first game where I got 90 minutes in and a 6 o'clock kickoff where the sun was literally in my eyes the entire first half. So, I felt good. I felt like I was getting a rhythm when I could actually see into the second half, and kind of caught my second wind, which is important when you're in Colorado. So I felt better as it was going on.
What did you see? What did you see from the rest of the team being able to overcome that? I guess you can say that disadvantage of not being used to that type of climate.
It's just almost a mentality thing. I think a lot of guys have played there, if not in Colorado Springs, in Colorado at least. So they were somewhat prepared and knew what was coming. And you just have to hydrate yourself and mentally prepare yourself for me. I remember I had the worst cotton mouth I ever had in my life, and I looked up at the corner and so it was definitely tough, but I thought the guys did well through the 90 minutes.
And for example, my other question for you in regards to RGB, and it kind of leads a little bit to what he asked, but what has been the biggest improvement you've seen out of this team from the times that you've played with them? What has been something that has been most improved in these 3 matches?
They've all been different. There's been some guys in and out of the team since I've been there, just the 3 games. I think all different circumstances as well. But I've been watching the games as well, even when I haven't been playing with them. But and you can tell how talented they can be if we can just finish on the other side of the ball, finish our chances. I think it's an easy game to play.
Do you have any idea what your timeline is to get back yet? Or are they still just kind of, you'll come back when we're ready for you to come back?
It's always when they're ready for me, but
just thought I'd ask.
I feel good. I think I've been ready, but they want me to continue to build strength and get some games under my belt. It's tough being a defender, because you're not going into a game saying, okay, I want a defender to play 45 minutes, or I want a defender to play 60 minutes, because every game you're going into it thinking you need your defenders to play 90 minutes for whatever circumstances you need late into the game. So obviously my situation is a little bit different than if I was an attacking player, if I was even Juan David, who can come in, and we usually sub the D mid in games anyway. So you can give him 45 minutes, or you can start him and sub him. So you're just not going to want to waste a sub for a right back.
You mentioned that you feel good. You've been around long enough. You've been through enough seasons. Do you feel like you were back to 100%? When it comes to recovery after a match, Do you feel like you're back to 100% or even better than you were before your injury?
I don't think I'll be 100% for a while. But, from I remember the 60 minutes I played in RGV. I was really sore after that game, and which led to them giving me a 3-week break and just doing lifting and conditioning and strength stuff and training, just trying to get that stronger. So I didn't feel that way again. And after this 90 minutes in Colorado, I was definitely tired just from playing in that altitude. But I think the next day I felt much better than I did 3 weeks ago just from playing 60 minutes. So it's getting there, and of course it's going to take time. It's going to take games. So I just got to keep going.
Absolutely. Hopefully they get you back. Cisco wants to know if you have any idea on your chances of possibly being involved with the USOC final on Wednesday.
I mean, everything's up to the coaches. I think this weekend in Orlando that I think everyone's focusing on. So I don't even think that's even on the radar for coaches or myself right now.
Just thought, yeah, he asked it, so I figured I'd throw it out there for sure.
Yeah.
You mentioned Cabezas and him coming back. As someone who's watched the team kind of from the out, well, you've been inside, but you know what I mean, from the outside in terms of the injury and doing the recovery and the rehab. Do you think that getting Cabezas back, and hopefully getting you back too as well, but getting Cabezas back specifically, is that a mentality boost for the club, for the players of the team? Just in terms of, they've gone through all these struggles this season, and, just knowing he's going to be in the lineup, even if it's just in the 18, as a player, I'll throw it to you this way. As a player, does that boost your mentality? Does that give you that little bit extra of a push, as you're getting tired in a match?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've had teammates even kind of questioning when I was coming back, and I wish I had an answer for him. Any kind of spark, I felt like I could bring that, just to kind of wake the team up and get us out of the slump. You look at myself and Juan David, we both played 30 plus games last year, so we were a big factor in our defending last year even. So I think the both of us, can bring something to the table, whatever it may be, and even if it's just a little spark to get the guys going, and kind of feeling like we did last year, we would do. And obviously, Juan David played this weekend, and we went 4-1. So whether it was him or the guys just picking that, so it was good to see.
Absolutely, and I agree. I mean, you can see the lack of emotional leadership along the back line, just in general. And I don't think that's not to say there's not leaders on the back line. Just I think what you bring specifically has been missing this season, and it's not just that veteran presence, that sort of thing, but it's that little bit of fire that you just seem to pull out of nowhere. Like nobody's expecting it, and all of a sudden AJ's fired up, and it's like, oh, hi AJ, there you are. Now you're ready to play. Okay, I got it. And I think that I feel like that's been missing this season. So just so you know why we are ready for you to come back, it's a large part of that as well. I think that really this team needs that. There's a lot of quiet leaders on this team, and we won't go too deep into that, but I do think there need to be some vocal leaders, and I do think there need to be some emotional leaders, and I definitely think that's been lacking. In my opinion, AJ, just so you know, it shows your value as a player, and your value at that position for sure. Others may not feel that way. I don't know. I can't speak for everybody, but if it was up to me, it would be that way. Anything else, Edson?
I think that's.
So final question.
Yep.
How are things going with your wife and the pregnancy that I saw you announce on whatever it was a while back?
Oh, everything has been going great.
Awesome.
She just had a doctor's appointment the other day, and obviously for us, from the first doctor's appointment until the kid is born, it's nerve-wracking, but we've been in the clear so far, and everything has been checking out perfectly. So hopefully we continue down that.
Absolutely, and we're praying for you, man. We hope things continue to go that way. Last thing, just to let you know, and I understand obligations may prevent you from being able to do this, but Tuesday night at Pitch 25, we are running a live show to try to do a little bit of hyping for the USOC final. So if you are in town and you would like to stop by and say hi on the live show, we would not turn you away. Just so you know, AJ, just so you know.
Well, I'll tell you this: we're not allowed to do any appearances Tuesday. Well,
there
Monday or
you go.
Tuesday.
That makes sense. That makes total sense.
Yeah, well, we would all get into some big fines. It's more like a fine.
We don't want that. Whoa, if I had that money, I don't think I'd be doing this. Well, all right, AJ. Hey, man, thank you for hopping on. We appreciate it. Hopefully we can get you back on, and hopefully that'll be back on after you get a chance to play in a Dynamo match. Maybe USOC final. So. Maybe we're predicting things here, huh? You know what, man? Again, thank you so much. You're amazing. We all love you. We all appreciate you, and we all appreciate the grind you're putting in and knowing that you're trying to get back truly 100%. And know that just what we want for you, man, 100%.
I know it's been a struggle for both of us this year, so but I hope this is more of a thing where I could be here long term rather than going out like this year. So
yeah, well, you know what? I mean, if I have any say, and I don't, but if I did, I would definitely be pushing the front office to make sure you stick around permanently. Period. End of story. And that this is your home, and that position is your position. With that being said, though, we are going to let you go. I don't want to dive any deeper into getting myself in trouble with the front office. All right, AJ. Thanks, man. Have a good one. Yeah, thanks, man. Bye. No, yeah, AJ is absolutely, without a doubt, one of my favorite Dynamo players, period. He's just incredible. He's an incredible interview, as you guys can see, but he's also just an incredible person. You know, he's a, and I said it, right? You know, if you look at the Dynamo backline, and it's been something that's been said by other people, but you can just see there's lacking of something, right? And you know, I look at it and I understand what AJ brings, and that's that emotional leadership, and also being a veteran player, he knows when to push and when not to push, just in terms of like if somebody's trying to rough him up. You know, he knows how to handle that. Mm-hmm. And you look at like Fuenmayor, right? And that's a player that's going to be right next to Fuenmayor. AJ is going to be right next to Fuenmayor in the back four, and AJ can kind of keep him reined in a little bit. And so, you know, I do think that that's something that we do miss a little bit. So,
yeah, because for example,
Tigres just scored. Osmar says Tigres just scored. Put that fist down, young man. This is an MLS podcast. I'm just kidding. It's TFC, so who really cares?
What I was going to say is, like, for example, Machado, Leonardo don't have that leadership to, as you say, rein in Fuenmayor. And even through that, we're starting to see huge improvement out of Fuenmayor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He had so many well-timed tackles against Portland, against, I believe it was Valeri. And
he has actually, I'm going to say this, he has looked incredible against Valeri the times that he's had to deal with him. Like, if there's one player that he matches up really well against, it has to be Valeri. And I don't understand why. It just is what it is. I don't know. Anyways, I just had to throw that out there.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's basically what I said, because I know you mentioned in the beginning that a lot of people saying that Fuenmayor was a bad pickup.
I didn't say that. That was somebody said that on.
No, I know. I said, but somebody mentioned.
Yeah, somebody was saying it. Yeah,
somebody was mentioning it, and yeah, that's a completely opposite of what I've been saying. I've been saying like, wow, he has improved so much. Yes, he did have that hiccup with that red card, and even then, that was questionable in my eyes.
Absolutely.
You know, but other than that, I think he's had a lot more things that he's done well for this back line, for him, for being a player that a lot of people did not think that he was going to get starting minutes, you know, this season, because he has to get used to the play style of MLS, and he's done so well as for cheap. So if that doesn't say,
shout out to the TA Twitter. They just tweeted out that we had AJ on. That's pretty awesome, TA Twitter.
Thank you, TA.
You guys are awesome.
And
sorry, I totally derailed you. I am so sorry.
It's all right. No, but basically what I'm saying, like, for example, like we thought it was going to take longer to get used to the MLS play style, and he's pretty much done it really, really quickly. And we might see Wilmer.
Cisco wants to know about the own goal. He had an own goal.
Yeah, I know. I remember.
That look on your face was like, what?
That really wasn't. I don't think that was his fault because he was trying to do what a defender does, is trying to block the cross. It just had the bad luck that
it deflected in the wrong way.
Yeah, and it deflected in a manner where it pretty much, ballooned up and then down. Yeah,
I mean, Blues fan says it best. It was a golazo of an own goal. I mean, it was incredibly beautiful for the other team and really unfortunate for us. It's just really bad luck.
And you know what else is, speaking of that own goal? Not every young player would get back. Who would get back and stay focused emotionally.
Yeah.
After an own goal, especially with the fact that he had his family watching him.
No, and you're right. Young players, one of the biggest struggles young players typically have is that they don't have that short-term memory. Like it sticks with them, and it's a confidence thing. And I mean, we've seen it with Morrow in terms of he'll miss a few goals, and then he goes on a streak where he just can't score for the life of him, and then all of a sudden he scores one or two, and now he can score like it's going. He can score like we're paying money to get goals. We're not, by the way.
Yeah.
Put that Tigris timeline away. Get out of here with your Tigris timeline. I don't know. I wouldn't go that far, Alex. That's a bit far for me right now. Now, that's not to say he can't get there. But Alex says, I believe Fuenmayor has the potential to go to the Premier League. That's hardcore. You can believe that. Hey, man, you keep believing because that's incredible. But that's a long way from where we are.
He's young. I think he's shown potential, but right now, no, I don't think.
No, he still has a lot of growing to do, and I say that, and you look at Jeff Cameron, and I think he's as good as Jeff Cameron was when Jeff Cameron was here. But he's going to need to take 2 or 3 to 4 more steps. Cisco says the Afghan Premier League. No, not Super League. That's Turkey, but close enough. But when it comes to, I'm going to go back to AJ for just a second. When it comes to AJ, it's just, I know he's been struggling through dealing with the rehab and dealing with the recovery and the setbacks and the non-setbacks that are actually setbacks, and trying to wait for the team to finally call him up, and making sure he's healthy and ready to go, and all the travel that it's added on and all that. I just hope he knows that from a fan standpoint, if we had control over it, if we had any say in the matter, we would have had him starting as soon as he was ready to come back. Even if it was for 10 minutes, we would have had him back. And it's. Sorry, folks. I need to do something real quick. My apologies. Oh, it's too far away. I'm sorry. All right, so now that you guys are good. Oh, wow. I tilted it now. Sorry. What's up, y'all? Now you can kind of see our bookshelf back there. By the way, that's my geek bookshelf. I'm kind of proud of that. What's up, Edson? You having fun over there? No longer on the camera because you're wearing a Tigris jersey. We don't support those in this podcast. We support that in the apartment, just not in this podcast. You can turn that back now. Sorry. But man, you totally threw me off. I don't even know what I was. Oh, a little further. There you go. Yep, right there. Oh man, this is great. We should do couch sessions way more often. This is so comfortable.
I think we should make this permanent.
That's a bit far. I don't know if I can do this permanently, but once a month wouldn't be bad. Of course, we're gonna do possibly something else once a month. See how that goes. Oh, so I said I was going to announce something, right? So the person who's going to be joining us at the live show next week is going to be none other than the wrestler himself, Jay Adelberg. And trust me, I know that's underwhelming for some people. I get it. It's not a big deal. But there's going to be others. Like I said, I'm waiting to confirm, and they're big names. You will be like, oh, that's awesome. I should be there. You should be there. You should totally be there.
You should be there regardless.
You really should. Support us, please. It'd be great.
I mean, beer.
Cisco is calling you out. Edson has almost napped about 4 times already. Dude. Like I told you guys, we are both exhausted. It's been a long week and a half. It's been a long 2 weeks, really. It's been longer than that, but it's been a long 2 weeks. And it doesn't end today. It doesn't end tonight. It doesn't end till I don't think it ends for me until Friday, and even then I'm going to be lucky if it ends on Friday. Callow, I will give you that in the amount of handshakes and high fives. I get that, Blues. No, I get it, Blues. But at the same time, it's a once-in-a-lifetime type thing, bro. Are you saying we're not good enough for once in a lifetime? Because that hurts, man. That cuts me deep. Cuts me real deep. Cuts me real deep. Zimbabwe dollars, 450 in Zimbabwe dollars? Dude, that's not even pennies. That's like less than a penny. That's like a millionth of a penny. Or maybe 100,000th of a penny. I don't know how that exactly works, but something like that. Anyways, we've gotten way off track. It's almost 8:30. We're going to stop the show at 8:30. I already told him we would do that because I just can't go any farther than 8:30. But you got to have something to talk about, dude. You've been way too quiet tonight.
Well, basically, okay, so tomorrow it's going to be down in the valley. We're going to
Thursdays, yeah. You're Thursdays now,
yes.
Permanently. Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central on the Down in the Valley YouTube channel. I got you.
So tomorrow we're going to have a special guest, Edgar Salas.
Oh.
He used to be the beat reporter for back in the day with the Bravos and the Grandes, which were the two USL Developmental League teams that the RGV used to have. Mm-hmm. And now he works as a marketing director for UTB.
Oh, that's cool.
And so we're gonna have him on tomorrow to talk about pretty much like we did with Brett Zalaski.
Yeah.
Talk about marketing, but specifically with our in the Rio Grande Valley region.
Yeah, and that's interesting, right? Because it's the one thing that shows is that you guys are trying to bring in something different. You're trying to bring in coverage that's not out there already. To be fair, it's not out there anyways, but you're trying to be different, and different is good. So I want to say that because I'm trying to encourage you guys that are watching, you and
all seven of you right now,
and you, all you guys. Actually, that's not them. They're not up there, are they? I feel really stupid now. Thanks, Edson. It's just. You guys should listen in. That's all I'm saying. Cisco will vouch for this. The show is great. You guys do a great job with Down in the Valley, and you can learn a lot about RGV in particular. And why is that important? Because, hey, guess what? We're getting their players eventually at some point. So, it's important to know what's going on with the players down there. Yeah, I was pointing at Edson's handle. He should definitely tune into Down in the Valley tomorrow night. Definitely do that, Edson. It's important. So, anyways, it's been a long.
And then
weeks.
Also.
Oh yeah, sorry.
So
RGV
also we're
Express time is clearly what has happened here.
Just the last couple minutes. So basically, we're gonna have that interview tomorrow. We're gonna be talking about what's next for the team now that we're officially out of playoffs. What are pretty much our expectations for these?
Dude,
last
how is Harry
games?
not gonna be on this right now? And he makes that intentional below the belt shot at you guys. Dude, that was hardcore. Just oh, sorry guys, you're out of it. You're not gonna make the playoffs this year.
Which is funny though, because he shouldn't be talking too early because there's still a possibility that San Antonio might be out.
Well, and even if they make it, they're not getting through the first round.
It'd be fun. It'd be funny that if Toros beat them in San Antonio, and that
we've talked about that all we've talked about it for the second half of the season. That would be perfect for the Toros to end their season at the same time,
Yeah, so I wouldn't be talking too early, Harry, if I was you.
It would would be really fun to see that, or at least to watch it happen, I should say.
Pretty much. Also, today we did upload a new video to Down on the Valley Gaming.
I saw that.
The Crew 2, check it out. It's part 1 of our cross-country race. We started in New York. Mm-hmm. Our pretty much our goal is to see who makes it first to Los Angeles.
So my Minecraft videos turned out like crap because I can't record. You know this. You've experienced it now. You can't record from the same computer you're trying to game from. It just doesn't work very well because the computer goes slow. Mm-hmm. And so I've got to figure out a better setup for that for recording the Minecraft videos. Although humorously, we switched from what we were playing to something else. So.
You don't have an NVIDIA Shadowplay?
No, I don't, because I don't have an NVIDIA card. I've got an ATI card, AMD card, ATI card, a Radeon card. It's an older Radeon card too. I mean, I've had it for like 5-6 years. Oh, and Cisco is. Thank you, Cisco. Cisco, are you going to be out at the live show next week?
Yeah, I think he said he was.
Can you bring those numbers with you next week? Because we're going to bring you on to talk about that. Because I think I've kind of plugged that for a few weeks now. So Cisco's been working on finding out where Brenner falls in terms of ownership value of the owner themselves, and I think it's an important, valid discussion to have. And so he's done a lot of research into it. He's worked himself pretty hard to find this stuff. So Cisco will be on next week as well. See, look, I told you there'd be more. I told you there'd be bigger names, guys. Cisco's coming on. You know that's a big name right there. But we have other people, and also, and I don't know how much of this I can share, but I'm going to share just what I can share. Green Flash Brewing is going to be offering something for the people that show up for the show. They are in Pitch 25, and I've got a guy with them. Thank you, Cisco. I've got a guy with them that I've been in communication with, and he has said they're going to do something for the show, and I don't know what it's going to be. I haven't solidified details with him. So yes, exactly, Blues. Pretty freaking cool. Cisco has something else. Oh, Cisco, are you going to share, or do we all have to wait and tune in next week / be there next week? As we just breathe heavily waiting. Damn, Callow. I mean, you're not wrong, but damn. By the way, also, make sure you watch our YouTube channel for the Rocket League videos. And Cisco also has, and I'm going to read it for you people that can't watch on YouTube. Cisco's also been looking into why USOC is important, and he's got numbers to back it up, which that's a big deal. So good stuff, man. Good stuff. Appreciate that, Cisco. That's perfect for a hype show the night before USOC final, actually. It's perfect.
Talking about Rocket League.
Rocket League, yeah. So just make sure you guys, we've got a few Rocket League videos up there. We're going to record more as time goes on. We're having a lot of fun with it. Callow, the captain, is amazing. Edson is definitely an offensive type player. He does not understand how to play defense, except very rarely. And I am not an offensive type player. I'm the total opposite.
Yeah, he's our goalkeeper.
Yeah, Travis would laugh and just die if he heard that, because I'm not a good goalkeeper, but I'm a goalkeeper.
Well, with players our level, you're pretty good.
Yeah, I'm learning to be better. And the one thing I struggle with is aerials and trying to block some of those higher shots. Edson is the Kyoto of Rocket League. That's actually really quite fair. I have compared him to Elise, because I think he's got a little bit of that Elise in him, a little Pantadita in him. He's Morrow. So he's all three forwards wrapped into one. I got it.
It kind of depends on the match.
Callow, and he won't say this, but he really is our Juan David Cabezas, if you think about it. I mean, he's that kind of deep-lying wreck-it. When I need him to cover for me, he's wrecking, and then if he needs to go up, he's helping you up there. He misses 1-on-1s. And he does. But no, seriously, I mean, we have a good time. We enjoy it, and it's a lot of fun. And, you guys, if you don't have Rocket League on your PC, if you've got a gaming PC, man, download it. We would love for you to join and play.
And if you have a PS4, I believe you can see. Can they join the party?
And Xbox too. Yeah, it's all cross-platform now. Mm-hmm. The whole thing is cross-platform. Yeah. So either way, you can join with an Xbox One or a PS4.
Just be sure to be part of the Dynamo Discord. So that's
hop in the Dynamo Discord, because that's where the voice chat goes down, and that's the only way we're going to really bring you in, because otherwise we can't coordinate, and that's a pain in the butt. Also, you have to be part of our party, which is what happens in Rocket League. We create a party so that we can add you to our club, which you really need to be part of to rep, Gen Orange Dyna Bros. It's important, Gen Orange Dyna Bros. So with that said, it is 8:30. It is actually 8:32. We went over. Oh man, God forbid. And
I'm hungry.
And we're gonna go. By the way, I'm gonna actually go get food because I am that hungry. So if we'll coordinate after this is done.
Yeah.
But seriously, guys, thank you for tuning in. I know this has been kind of a wonky show, but again, knowing that we have the live show coming up next week and trying to push everything into that, and just with my work schedule this week and last week, It was just not going to happen. And Edson's been, as you guys have seen, he's been exhausted. Ow, God, I need to stop pulling this freaking cable. Edson's been freaking exhausted too. So we wanted to do kind of a laid-back show, so we did. And, you know, it was a good show. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, hit the like and yes, and Osmar says it. Let's pack Pitch 25. Osmar, are you going to be out there at Pitch 25, by the way, next week? While he's figuring out that or responding. Do us a favor, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel Down in the Valley, subscribe to Down in the Valley so you guys can get notifications when we go live. Make sure you guys also follow us on Twitter at Gen Orange Radio. Gen Orange Radio. We haven't shared that in a long time. Follow us on Twitter at Gen Orange Radio. And do us a favor, when you guys are talking about soccer, and specifically talking about anything we've talked about on the show, talking about anything, you know, using a quote that we have, whatever it may be, do us a favor.
Or sharing the video?
Yeah, or sharing the video, whatever it is. Tag us in the tweet because we will retweet it. We will be happy to talk, you know, and discuss with you guys. I mean, look, if you follow Gen Orange Radio at all, you know that during the week we are completely engaged whenever we can be. Now, it's not always because work is work and life is life. But when we can, we will absolutely engage with anybody that wants to talk. And it doesn't matter what you want to talk about soccer related or even sometimes not soccer related like video games or Rocket League. We will be happy to engage in those conversations. So make sure you follow us on Twitter at Gen Orange Radio. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Down in the RGV because we don't have a Gen Orange one for that one yet. Make sure you follow us on Facebook it's / Down in the RGV.
Yes.
And follow Down in the Valley on Twitter at RGV or at Down in the RGV.
Down in the RGVA.
And do us a favor and follow AJ on Twitter. It is at AJD_20.
Yes.
Does that sound right?
And be sure to also also follow Down in the Valley Gaming on Twitch.
Yeah.
Twitch.com/Down in the Valley Gaming.
And expect more of that. Now that we've kind of got the setup figured out for some of this stuff, expect him to be doing a lot more videos and expect to watch the space for some FIFA coming at you very, very soon. Yay. I mean, we played some FIFA over the weekend a little bit. We didn't play a lot. We played a little bit over the weekend. I thought we would play more, but we didn't.
It was an hour.
It was like an hour.
And I'm upgrading my stuff, so it's going to be a lot better.
Oh, that's true, yeah. Well, but we were playing on the Xbox One.
Yeah, but still.
But yeah, I mean, we're gonna keep doing videos, and we'll get into FIFA a little bit more, and also we're gonna be trying to push that Pro Club thing as well. So that's FIFA Pro Clubs to clarify. So make sure you guys, if you've got FIFA on your, we're still gonna do that on Xbox One, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you got an Xbox One,
I'll be doing my career modes in PC, but everything else will be in Xbox One.
Yeah. So if you guys have an Xbox One, Brian, that is good. You should definitely bring Baron with you for sure. If you have an Xbox One, that's fine. You guys can come no matter how old you are. We'll make it work. Yeah, we'll figure it out. I'm not worried about age right now. I'll talk to them and figure it out and make sure we're good. So it should be fine. But man, you guys totally made me lose my train of thought. But we'll keep recording. We'll keep recording FIFA videos and just try to, like I said, Pro Clubs. If you guys want to get involved with Pro Clubs and you have an Xbox One, please send a message to Edson or I or whatever, and we'll definitely figure it out. You guys can keep talking in the YouTube chat. We're going to leave the stream up for like 15, 20 minutes when we finish. We're just going to go music and just chat.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're out.
Peace
and chicken grease. Forever Orange. Somos Toros. Dash TF on. We are Gen Orange. And Forever Orange
and
yet again.
We're out of here.
We were out of here before this thing started. Thanks again, guys. Seriously. Have a good week.
You wanna turn me off. You wanna flip the switch. I wanna break the lock. I know what makes you tick. We used to be so young and free. Yeah, baby, don't treat me like a machine. I could still be just what you need. No, baby, don't treat me like a machine. Wanna go to your apartment, take it back to where we started. We'll be everything you wanted, you wanted, you wanted. And I know it could be perfect, and I know it would be worth it. We'll be everything you wanted. You want it, you want it. You want it, you want it. It's driving us apart. The way we never speak. I'll fix your broken parts and make you feel complete. We used to be so young and free. Yeah, baby, don't treat me like a machine. I could still be just what you need. No, baby, don't treat me like a machine. We used to be so young and free. Yeah, baby, don't treat me like a machine. I could still be just what you need. No, baby, don't treat me like a machine.